The walis of Allah, the friends of Allah, in their speech, there are words that contain ilham, inspiration, divine inspiration. Their words, their statements, their discourse for the human being is a cure for the human beings. And especially paying regard to when a shaykh, a teacher, wali Allah, when he gives nasiha to a murid, to a student, then totally it's the connection to Allah, because Allah Ta'ala knows that the shaykh, the teacher, he wants to do tarbiyah of the student, he wants to reform, improve the student. Allah Subhanahu Wa Ta'ala helps, assists the shaykh, enables him and inspires him, and from his tongue speech such words emanate with the permission of Allah, which for that murid, that student, which are beneficial for that individual, that student. So this regularly occurs. The mashayikh, the honorable mashayikh, when they say something from their blessed speech, statements, then the murid, the student, they are addressing him from the angle of nasiha, advice, but in reality it's a very big message from Allah Ta'ala. And the second thing is that when a person, a friend of Allah, and obviously this is Mujaddid, we are speaking about his statement, his speech, his effect, impact is unique, brilliant. There are two things here. One, that his statement that he is saying to the murid, the student, the shaykh is speaking, and subhanallah, sometimes these words and statements, the person who's been given nasiha, the murid, the student, it's specifically sometimes for that person. So obviously, if the murid, he hears, he's been given the advice, but those things that come out, like for example, they come in the maktub, in the writings, the nasiha, the advice, that means that the words of ilham, not just for that individual, not just for his islah, reformation, rather in reality, that word has spread, been shared, and that's for every insan, human being who wants to reform and improve himself, especially those salikeen, students who are attached to this silsila, this order, who have a connection. For them, it is very valuable indeed. They are precious pearls, jewels. Rahmatullah said that in the short life, in the short temporary life, do kathir of dhikr, abundance of dhikr, and save your heart from sins, and have fikr for this, concern for this. Subhanallah. This is the nasiha, the advice that Hazrat Mujaddid al-Thani rahmatullahi gave to his student. If we look at the depth of the cure has been given as well. Hazrat advised the solution, what? That worry about the sin and worry about the sins from your heart by doing abundance of dhikr. That an action, if you do this action, look at the benefits, how many have been explained. That for this, to understand the reality of life, what should we do? Kathira dhikr. Dhikr in abundance, high quantity. High quantity. Yes, this life which is temporary, which is weak, not strong, what should we do to get away from this? Is that we need to make our heart free from the sins. We need to eliminate the sins from our heart, because when sins are implemented, they attach to the heart, then we don't see this world as temporary, this life is temporary, and nor do we see this world as weak, on a weak platform. That's why we run after the dunya. We give our all for the dunya. So the heart, our hearts, we need to purify our hearts, save our hearts from the sins. We need to protect our heart. This is by doing dhikr kathir, abundance of dhikr, lots of dhikr, lots of dhikr. First point is that when a person does dhikrullah kathira, high quantity, nasiyah being given by Hazrat Mujaddid al-Thani, when we remember Allah all the time, as much as possible, the first thing is the heart, your heart will be saved from the sins. Automatically Allah has instilled the effect into dhikr, His dhikr. Allah has put this quality and feature and effect that slowly, or quickly, possibly, over time, doesn't matter how long it takes, but the dhikr of Allah will eliminate the love of the world from the heart. It will eliminate the sins. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has in His dhikr, in His remembrance, put this brilliant effect. In other words, Hazrat Mujaddid al-Afthani rahmatullah alayhi is praising and defining the effect of dhikr, that to purify the heart, to remove the sins from the heart, to save the heart from sins, to save the heart from sins, that our life at the moment, we see it as very valuable and precious. So what we should do to understand the relative life is do dhikrullah kathira, high quantity, regular dhikr, as much as possible dhikrullah. Always make yourself busy and occupied in dhikrullah. Your tongue should be doing dhikrullah. Your heart should be doing dhikrullah. Mujaddid al-Afthani rahmatullah stated that our concern for the akhirah is ended. Our concern for the hereafter has ended, and we've replaced it with other worries. Other issues have surrounded us, worldly issues. So when we replace the fikr of the akhirah with the fikr of the world, then our lifestyle will change. Then we'll work, we'll do things. We have to live. Of course we have to live. Yes, so when the fikr of the akhirah replaces the world, then what fikr will overwhelm you? Replace it. Yes, you'll work, you'll do things. But the concern you'll have is that whatever I do in the world, then first and foremost you'll think of those actions, that when he's doing an action in the world, is this spoiling my hereafter? Subhanallah. Business, occupation, home, wedding, children, house, wife. First he will think any action he's doing whilst living in the world, because he's got fikr akhirah, concern for the hereafter. When the concern for the hereafter is there, and when the worldly concerns diminish, then always whenever he's doing any action in the world, obviously you have to live, eat, drink, move around, do things, but he'll have a standard, a criteria before he implements any action. What will be his standard of action? Every action he does, then that person, before he does any action in the world, a person who's focused on hereafter, whatever action, small, big, business, home issues, wedding, functions, someone's inviting you to a wedding, someone's inviting you to a function, because there's so many things we have to do in life. So then your fikr for the akhirah is focused. His standard of decision making becomes that this action I'm about to do now, will it spoil my hereafter? Will it give me issues in the hereafter? Subhanallah. When he's satisfied that this action won't spoil my hereafter or put my hereafter into negative, then he'll go towards that action in the world. And then his akhirah will be saved. And that's where Hazrat is saying that we need to change our concern, our worry and our contemplation. Both things.